What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to the Arsenal, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. And time to get genuinely excited, everybody. Football is back. Now, it is only pre-season football, but, we don't play kickabouts. They all count. These games are all important, and it's a chance to see Kai Havertz. Loads of questions. We're going to do a live stream tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to be talked about, but very much, is he being brought in to play that Raumdeuter position that Thomas Müller made so famous, even coined the phrase? Is he going to be playing as a more traditional 8? Who else are we going to see in the team? All these kind of questions. Of course, it's disappointing that Declan Rice and Kieran Tierney won't be there. These deals are all but done. Reports in the news today, they are still trying to scaremonger. I saw a couple of articles saying that West Ham are really annoyed. I don't think it really matters, to be honest. Certainly doesn't matter to me if the West Ham board are annoyed. They kind of deserve it, I think. But all the talk has been that Arsenal are very much expecting this to go through. It's in the hands of the lawyers, who are dotting the I's and crossing the T's, to borrow a cliche. But the deal is expected to go ahead in time for Sunday, when the squad fly out to America for the razzmatazz portion of our pre-season friendlies. Really looking forward to that as well. There's going to be, I talked about in a previous video, there's going to be a skills challenge on the night before, I think the Wednesday night next week, which will be really interesting. Things like the crossbar challenge. So all the kind of razzmatazz from the United States tour that you would expect, and some big games as well. But we won't be seeing Declan Rice and Kieran Tierney against Nürnberg. There's been... on the Arsenal channel, they've been releasing the footage of training. Everyone looks happy. Everyone looks ready to go. There are a few little knocks and niggles that are going to keep people out. But also really interesting to me to see that they released very publicly Arteta giving Fabio Vieira a pretty hard time. I don't normally see that, but he was really cross with him for just sort of watching and not taking part. This has got to be the season where Fabio Vieira kicks on, because if he doesn't, I don't think we need him. With that, a predicted lineup for tomorrow's game. You can watch it, of course, on Arsenal.com with I think it's £4.99, or you can buy a pre-season pass, which gives you all the games for less. I'm not working for Arsenal, but I did get my tickets. I love watching Arsenal. What can I tell you? Every flavour of Arsenal is fantastic to watch. In goal tomorrow. This is a prediction, by the way. Don't sue me if it's wildly wrong. There's a couple that are in there that I was surprised about. But the first one, in goal, Ramsdale. So Rambo, number 1 in goal. Ben White, still at right back. Obviously, lots of speculation that Kieran Tierney is going to take that position, and that Ben White may be playing more of a midfield. I could see that, actually. I think Declan Rice came from centre-back, not via right-back, it has to be said, but Ben White's a kind of intelligent, tactically astute player who could, I think, sit in a double pivot in that midfield quite comfortably. He's used to inverting now to some degree. Rob Holding forms a centre-back partnership with Gabriel Magalhaes. Always, listen, I think he's a great force around the camp. People love him. I don't expect him to get many minutes this season. I'm not really expecting him to still be here at the end of pre-season, but it doesn't look like there's a queue of people looking to sign Rob Holding, and he will be in the centre-back partnership tomorrow. Tierney on the left, and of course, I think I can't have been the only one who expected Tierney to leave this summer. There is still murmurings around Newcastle, but it's gone very quiet. And it was reported a couple of weeks ago that Mikel Arteta was very keen to keep Kieran Tierney at the club. I think there are going to be some tactical changes this season, which means that we may need a more defensive-minded fullback. We may play with a flat back 4. I don't know. But Kieran Tierney is certainly in line to start tomorrow. No Thomas Partey, so Jorginho will be taking that or Declan Rice, sadly. Jorginho will be taking that defensive midfield position. I really like Jorginho. I think he's intelligent. I think he runs the game really well. A footballing brain and a really charming and I think a leader in the camp. So I'm really pleased to see him involved. Of course, his involvement will be limited by the arrival of Rice. Odegaard and Havertz. Now, it's going to be our first chance to see Kai Havertz in an Arsenal shirt. From being initially incredibly sceptical, I'd like to say now that I'm actually really excited about it and can't wait to see him play, I think, in that kind of very free position, but it's too soon to say. Saka and Jesus up front with Trossard. So really exciting to see Leo in that. I think he played in the game against Watford. A really exciting player when you give him how many minutes he had last season and what he was able to do in those minutes. So overall, from this pre-season friendly, from this one, we're not going to see a lot of the new signings that we kind of were believing that were coming in. It has gone quite quiet, not just in terms of players in, but actually on players out as well. Thomas Partey rumours persist, but nothing really concrete. Xavi Simons seems like he's decided to stay at PSV for another year. The talk at the moment is about Gabri Veiga, a player who you would have seen if you watched the England under-21s beat Spain in the final of the under-21s European Championships. Listen, you know, you always watch these games to see what this player is going to be like. He had a steady game, but wasn't, didn't set the world on fire. But apparently, according to journalists, Arsenal's his number one choice. How great to keep hearing that over and over again. That players want to come to Arsenal. They want to work with Arteta. They like the progress that's being made there, and they believe in the project and process. Fantastic news. But I think all of us are aware that it is a process, and we are perhaps in stage 4 or 5, but we do have to kick on next season. So there are things that I believe, looking at it, Arteta has to do better. That's not necessarily my place to criticise Arteta tactically, but I think we all know that whilst I would have given them a really high score for last season, there were errors. Among those errors were not involving the players from the full squad as much as he could have done. Arteta had a fantastic season last season, but there were areas that I hope that he can improve on. And one of them really is in squad rotation. When you look at the difference between Manchester City and Arsenal, we had 5 players who played more than 3,000 minutes last season just in the Premier League. Man City had 1. If you look down the line, that it was really that involvement of the full 24 was better than ours. There were just players in the first team that Arteta didn't really have the faith in. I've talked a lot about Emile Smith-Rowe, but even if you looked at Kivior, it took him a while to get game time. I know he was a January transfer signing. Lukonga obviously was shipped out. Emile Smith-Rowe basically barely got 2 games worth of time. We do need to give Arteta the squad that he completely trusts, and I think we're building that, but maybe we might need more than 3 signings really to get that over the line. But it is also true to say that, he didn't bring on a lot of players, didn't feel like he had a lot of impact players to bring on. And hopefully that's changed with the kind of players like Kai Havertz coming in. Balogun maybe as an option. There's lots of speculation around Balogun, but nothing's happened there. I appreciate it's still only sort of early mid-July, but you don't really want... One of the great things about last season was bringing the players in nice and early, getting them bedded in, taking them on tour, having them know the other players. I think the 3 key players are clearly in, and we're not planning to lose a lot more players. And another area it'd be great to see Arteta improve is just bringing through some of the young players. When you look at the academy and the kind of talent it's producing, the good news on that is that he has integrated 3 of the academy players into the first team training. They are on the pre-season tour. One of them is Raul Walters, a very promising right back I spoke about a little while ago, saying that they are planning to give him more minutes in the pre-season and even possibly in the Premier League this season. And that would mean a lot to a young player trying to come through. I know we've signed Jurriën Timber and that could block his way a little bit. But when you have this many games coming up, as we will be in the next couple of seasons, there are always going to be opportunities. And as we saw with Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe, if you give these young players an opportunity and they take it, they can become world beaters. The other 2 are Ethan Nwaneri, who of course recently signed an extension, gave up a chance to go to Manchester City and Chelsea and for a lot of money because he believes in the process and the project. And him and Miles Lewis-Skelly are absolutely ones to watch for the future. Fantastic midfielders. And I'm really excited about the chance to maybe get to see a few minutes from them here or there in the pre-season. But it's pre-season. It's going to be exciting whatever happens. It's a chance to see the new kit. Not really that fussed. Hopefully the US tour will be a chance to see Declan Rice finally playing, Julian Timber finally playing. I don't think we're going to sign anyone now before that tour, so we really do have the squad ahead of us. Might be some players left out. There might be some other transfers out before then and during then if they don't travel. Overall, I'm really excited about this season to come. Not just because we've strengthened the squad, but also because I look around me and I think that there are, I think Liverpool have done some great business, but I don't think it's enough yet. I think Kovacic to Man City is their only signing. Gvardiol looks like he's going. That doesn't look enough, given that they might be losing 5 players. I am doing a video on that tomorrow, talking about the situation at Manchester City, because it's really interesting to me, but no spoilers for that. I don't think that Manchester United, the ownership issue that's still ongoing, is helping them at all. And I'm not sure that I see them challenging Newcastle steady as ever. I really think next season there's a massive chance for us to win the league. We have a live stream tomorrow at 8 o'clock, so it'll be just after the game. Obviously, we're going to talk about the result. We're going to talk about where we've seen Kai Havertz. I expect there'll be a lot more conversation around whether he is going to be the Raumdeuter or whether he's just going to be a conventional 8 or a box-to-box. Who knows? But we'll have a better idea. I've said this consistently. We're going to have a much better idea of Arteta's strategy. We're going to have a much better idea of Arteta's tactics and plans after we've seen them play. Of course, the team that's going to be out tomorrow isn't going to be totally reflective of the team that we're going to see mostly in the Premier League. But the rump of the team is there. So join us at 8 o'clock tomorrow for the live stream. I'm with Football Dad's Army and Sean. And until then, and until I see you again, don't forget, I don't want you to hit the like, I don't want you to hit a subscribe button on this unless you're going to be part and come and turn up to these videos, all right? I want to say a massive thank you for all the support that you guys have given me. It makes a world of difference. Loving your comments, loving your involvement. You could hit like a few more times. But until I see you again, be lucky and lots of love.